Welcome to the What's Our Verdict podcast. We fashion ourselves cinematic judge and jury. My name is JJ Crowder. I'm here with my co-host, Mattson Heiner.
Better red than dead.
Javier Ortiz.
What is up, my nerds?
And Ian Anderson.
Some shit.
We appreciate you here on the podcast. Go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, and bell notification button to keep up with all of our spoiler-free reviews. Go check out our website, whatsourverdict.com, where you can sign up for our newsletter to get exclusive content and updates, pick up some free merch, and interact with us. Question we always ask: if you find yourself wondering if you spend the time, money, or both on a movie, to help with that question, each week put a movie on trial, discuss the facts, pass judgment, and let you know our verdict. Today we are reviewing Matrix Resurrection. It was released December 22nd, 2021. It was written by Lana Wachowski and David Mitchell. It was directed by Lana Wachowski. Stars Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss, Jessica Henwick, Yahya Abdul-Mateen, Jonathan Groff, Neil Patrick Harris, Priyanka Chopra Jonas, and Jada Pinkett Smith. Return to a world of two realities: one, everyday life; the other, what lies behind it. To find out if his reality is a construct to truly know himself, Mr. Anderson will have to choose to follow the White Rabbit once more. So this is our spoiler-free review. We'll rate this movie on a 3-tiered scale. Worth it, meaning you should watch this movie as soon as possible. Stream it, meaning wait until you can watch it for free. And finally, not impressed, meaning you shouldn't watch this movie at all. You can listen to our deep dive review of this movie on Monday, January 3rd, wherever you listen to podcasts. So let's dive in. Javier, you were gone for a minute. Let's have you start us off, buddy.
I'm back. Look who's back again. I'm back. Sorry. I had a scheduling error, meaning I'm an idiot. I forgot what day we recorded. Anyway, okay. Matrix Resurrections. The best way I can describe this movie is like a "Where Are They Now" type of movie, like a documentary on what they're up to after the trilogy. And I didn't feel like it really added to the story a ton. It was kind of cool to see how like the world developed, since we've been gone and things like that. But overall, like, I was kind of unimpressed, disappointed by this movie. Like the action scenes I thought were better in the first movie. Even in like the second movie, I thought the action scenes were better. I will say this though. It's great to see Keanu Reeves in a character that he's comfortable with, and that like his line delivery wasn't like cringeworthy. Like it was good to see that. So, yeah, I wasn't impressed. It wasn't an awesome movie, but you kind of have to see it. Like if you like the other Matrix movies, you're obligated to see it like morally. So I'm actually going to give it a stream it.
Oh,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a stream it, though I think it probably deserves a not impressed. But anyway.
All right. Hey, Mattson.
I'm gonna come out of the gate and give it a stream it, but on the lower end. Like Javier said, if you've seen The Matrix, you put your blood, sweat, and tears through the years. It's like the second and third ones where you were gonna go see it, but they weren't that well done. I was disappointed in the fighting in this movie. I got to be honest. I had when I went into the movie, I lowered my expectations, but I said I expect to see good CGI and good fighting
because it's 2021. Right? Like,
yeah.
And Keanu Reeves is way more trained than he was for the original Matrix movie through all the John Wick training.
Absolutely. And just the fighting, like the thing I loved about the Matrix is we always think back to when we first saw it, if it came out, when it came out, or you saw it years later. It was revolutionary in redeveloping like movie fighting cinematography, the one take action scenes, the bullet time. And while the CGI kind of sucked back then and how they interspersed it with humans versus computer generated, I thought they did okay this time around. But the fighting, man, it didn't add anything to me. And it felt different. It didn't feel like the style of the Matrix of old. And I think that was part of my problem. This new Matrix, they kept showing flashbacks to the old one. I don't know. I didn't like the new Matrix. It didn't feel they almost had like God mode, which makes sense if you're the analyst guy that was able to do that. Felt like a crazy version of GTA when you get 5 stars and the whole city is coming at you, let alone the cops. It was just disjointed, and I think Javier said it best. Like, what did we really gain from this movie? It's like, well, they were where they always were. Once we don't obviously want to spoil that, and at the end of the movie, I'm not really sure like what I watched validated how the movie ended and how I was supposed to feel, and it also kind of felt goofy without spoiling anything. So if you're a Matrix fan, like Javier said, I think you have to see it. But I think all of us know Matrix 2 and Matrix 3 weren't that great, and we probably assumed Matrix 4 was going to be more of the same, and it was.
I made the mistake of assuming that it would be better than those because it's several years later, right? Like the actors should be better, the writers should be better, the CGI should be better. I was wrong.
And yeah, we were.
I'm not gonna lie. It seems like you guys are giving descriptions of not impressed movies, but giving it a stream it. So
see, I said stream it because you have to watch it. Like,
yeah,
you just have to.
I'm gonna 100% disagree with that because you do not have to watch this movie. If you really liked The Matrix before, you don't have to watch this one. Like, keep what you had in mind of The Matrix before this movie, because once you see this, you can't go back.
Let me ask you this,
I mean?
Ian. One of Ian's favorite book trilogies is Red Rising. If they came out with a 4th book and everyone was like, this is the worst book ever written by the human race, would you read it?
No, I would keep it in
okay.
the first 3 books so that I could maintain that like love for those 3 books rather than watching one that's gonna
But Javier, I think you have to ask
me.
that differently. If it was maybe he kind of heard here and there, like, hey, it's not the greatest, but it's like, like I gotta find out for myself. Like that's where I'd be like, you have that, you gotta weigh that in your mind.
Yeah, and maybe I didn't like catch a lot of stuff in this one. But man, the last 20-30 minutes, I was like, you guys are just dumb. I don't even get what this is doing. So I'm not impressed. And I will say I don't, because this is the second time I've seen this year. Nothing pulls me out of a movie more than when WB references themselves in their movies. So stupid.
They just go real meta on you.
Yeah, it was terrible. Once I heard that, I was like, "Oh, great! This is what we're in for." So, yeah, that's mine. I'll stick to that.
Interesting. All right. So I have to admit that I was not looking forward to this movie for a number of reasons. One, The Matrix, the original Matrix, was like it is one of my favorite movies. Like 1999 came out the year I graduated.
You graduated in 1999? Damn.
Hey,
sorry.
It was it was honestly the last movie I saw before I took a 2-year hiatus from movies. So it's one of those movies that's very like it's memorable for me, and it was so different. It was cool. The story was twisty, even though it was very straightforward. It's not like it was trying to be twisty. It was just there was something crazy going on that you hadn't seen before. So I thought that was really cool. Yeah, and then you have Reloaded and Revolutions, which were not good.
To give those movies credit, though, those fight scenes with Neo against all the Agent Smiths were fun.
Except the CGI was bad even then.
The CGI was bad. Yes, that is true. I guess I'm thinking about the part where he pulls the pole out of the ground and smashes it. That was cool. Like, it was creative.
The funny part was the live action parts were good.
Yeah.
In that fight. But like when it went full CGI, it wasn't great. And then I've never been a fan of the flying thing either in the first 3 movies, so that always bothered me. But anyway, we're not talking about those movies. We're talking about Resurrections. And surprisingly, well, and then I get my brother-in-law posts on my Facebook like a few days ago before Christmas or whatever, and he's telling me we need to review this movie, and then just goes through this like scathing paragraph about how he hated this movie so much. So I was just purely ready to just loathe this movie. Guys, it's long, and the first 2 hours, I didn't hate this movie. Like, I can't say that I despised it. I thought it was quite interesting, actually. It was a different take. It put you in different situations in this world. I liked the fact that there was an actual, like they talk about in the second movie, Matrix, they called it Reloaded, but they didn't reload shit. It was the same fucking place. This, to me, is a reloaded Matrix because it's all different. And I like the way that I don't want to go into spoilers because if you haven't seen it, and this is the spoiler free, then we'll talk about it in the deep dive. But I didn't mind like what happened to Neo and where he's at to start this movie. They probably played it a little long. There's probably 30 minutes out of this movie that could have been cut because it just was repetitive in a lot of ways. And then the ending, well, Ian's not wrong. The last like 20 minutes, I looked over at Casey when we were finished watching it, and I went, well, that went downhill fast. Because there is a point where it all gets really confusing and muddled, and they don't actually explain what's happening very well. And it's like, what am I watching? So that part bothered me. But I'm not going to lie, and I'll talk a lot more about it in the deep dive. The first probably hour and 20 minutes of this movie, I was intrigued. And I was interested.
I can get behind that. I'll get behind that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was surprised because there was the one thing about the Matrix movies is there was not much humor at all in the original three, especially the first one. It was not a funny movie. It was pretty dark. It was heavy. It was serious. This movie had some comedy in the first 30 minutes that I was actually laughing out loud at. Like it was interesting to me. So I liked it because it was different. I'm not going to say it's a great movie, but I'd say stream it, especially if you liked The Matrix, and then maybe like skip the last 20 minutes.
Comedy in The Matrix.
I didn't expect that. I didn't expect it, and I normally would have, like, if you just said that before I watched it, I'd have been like, get the fuck out of here. But
there were hard things. Different. Like the new Morpheus, those are hard shoes to fill.
Sure.
Which he didn't do well, right? And so they were just like they wrote themselves into difficult corners. I think in some instances too.
Sure. Well, and I think I don't know. I don't want to go too far into that either, but I liked how they explained the new Morpheus.
Sure.
But yeah,
Morpheus. like Inception Morpheus.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
You're gonna have to re-explain him in the deep dive to help my mind wrap around it a little bit more. I thought of Javier during this movie. Sometimes I was like, if I'm stretching my mind a little bit, I know my counterpart, my friend Javier, is probably like,
"Hey, I got it." Are you trying to tell me that I am stupider than you? We are not counterparts. Screw you, dude.
I was just trying to commiserate with you.
Wow, you called me stupid.
No, you take movies very literally, and that's I use it as a mark of like, if I have to think too hard, then is this something that's good for the masses, the common folk?
Right.
Yeah, I didn't find myself. Well, so to understand a little bit more about what Matt's is talking about, go listen to our what was that damn movie?
Tenet.
Okay. Anyone who pretends to understand Tenet is lying through their teeth. Nobody understands that movie. Christopher Nolan is just throwing darts at a wall, and it's just like, I guess we're doing this now. That movie makes no sense. I don't care what anyone says.
Oh shit!
You can't convince me otherwise.
It was more just the one part. Our intro. All you gotta do is listen to our intro of that episode, and it's like the greatest 5 minutes of that episode. So
that's such a dumb movie.
There it is. Not as good as I think anybody hoped, but in my opinion, it could have been much worse. In Ian's opinion, don't watch this movie, and that's understandable. I could go a lot of different ways with this movie, and we'll talk about that in the deep dive. Mattson, tell everybody where they can find us.
Yeah, if you want to listen to us, we're all good podcasts can be found. Name a few: Apple and Spotify, Stitcher as well. Check us out on social media and our Instagram and Facebook at What's Our Verdict, and then check us out at whatsourverdict.com to see our up and coming movies. We're excited to review Sing 2, and The Kingsman over the next couple weeks as well. So come check us out.
Sing 2 was super on brand for us.
Yeah.
I am psyched for that movie. I love the first one.
Hey, we've done animated movies before.
Have we?
Yeah, we did.
That like
Scooby.
one time.
Oh, Scooby,
I
that
guess
was a
we've done couple
mistake.
more.
Oh,
Soul.
we did something.
We
Yeah, we
did
did
Soul.
Soul. We rated
I like
Soul
Soul.
high.
Soul was great. I do
Yeah.
like Soul.
As I say, we've done a couple
Just
of
because
animated.
it's animated doesn't mean it sucks.
Hey,
Oh,
I was gonna make you watch Encanto, but I figured we'd like
Oof,
listen.
I've already
I
seen
will
that.
be watching
Yeah.
that.
it's not great.
Oh,
At least Sing 2 looks like it should be entertaining, and the first one's fun. Anyway, with that, we appreciate you tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.
Bye now.
Cinemagic out.
Whoa!